Hello everybody and welcome back to Sector 6, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to look over the Crisis Core Reunion trailer and we're going to talk about some of the possibilities to do with this game. Don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future content. We're on a push to 1,000 subscribers and we're getting there. We've just cleared 800, so every little bit helps, but let's get on with the video. Now the first thing is, I'm not going to do a full breakdown like I've done with the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, purely because in this trailer, pretty much everything is shot for shot to a scene from Crisis Core. So it's a little bit pointless doing a scene for scene breakdown. It seems like it's going to be the same game. It seems like it's going to follow pretty much the same path, so a breakdown's pretty pointless at this point. If you've played Crisis Core, you know what's going on in the trailer. If you've not played it, you've got things to look forwards to. And I'm not going to spoil things that go on in Crisis Core too much. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers. A lot of newer fans to the Final Fantasy VII universe and compilation haven't quite got around to Crisis Core yet, and this is a perfect opportunity for them to do it. So I'm going to try and be light on the spoilers. And that does bring me to one of the points that I want to look at for Crisis Core Reunion, and that is, what exactly is this? Because it looks like it's been remade in Unreal Engine 4, so in order for it to have been put into Unreal Engine 4, my assumption would be that it would have to be completely rebuilt in Unreal Engine 4. I don't know if you can transfer assets from the PSP game to Unreal Engine 4. I'm sure there's people that are more proficient in things like that are watching this video, so, you know, let me know if that would be a possibility. My brain tells me it wouldn't be. So that would make you think that it's a remake. But then when you look at some of the shots side by side, they look identical. And I mean, even the stupid little run that the Shinra guards do when they're running up towards Zack is identical to how it looked in the PSP version. So I'm a little bit torn on whether this is a remake or a remaster. I've seen people using the term remakester. I believe Blitz has been using that term, and I think it could probably be a pretty accurate term for this game, because it kind of looks a bit of both. It's weird. Let me know what you think. It looks to me like they've had to rebuild everything in Unreal Engine 4. That's what I would assume, but then shot for shot it looks identical, so maybe they've been able to import some of it over. I don't know. Which kind of gives you an idea why they might have called it Reunion. And this is the next thing that we're going to talk about. This is the main thing that we're going to talk about is, A, why have they called it Reunion? And B, is it going to be the same game? Is it going to stay true to the Crisis Core that we know and love? Now, first off, on the Reunion front, the straight up reason that I think they've called it Reunion is because they've let's just say they've messed around with the term remake recently. Let's just say that. Let's just say that they've said something was a remake that wasn't a remake, technically. I mean, it is a remake, but it's not. And maybe because of that, they wanted to avoid using the term remake, because instantly then people would correlate Crisis Core with Final Fantasy VII Remake and be like, oh, well, they're going to do exactly the same sort of thing they did with FF7 Remake. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they've just avoided remake for that purpose. The other possibility is that by calling it Reunion, they're kind of opening it up to the possibility for changes in the narrative. Because if they just call it Crisis Core HD Remaster, or if they did call it Crisis Core Remake, most people would expect it to be a straight remake. By calling it Reunion, they kind of open up the possibilities a little bit. I'm not convinced that much is going to change. I'm going to be completely honest, and this is where we're going to get into it. So, if you look through the trailer, every single shot, like I say, pretty much is shot for shot. There is a shot for shot trailer that's been done by Cycu, CYCU. I'll pop it up on the screen now so you can go and check them out. I'm going to use a couple of screenshots from the video, but go and have a look at the video itself so that you can see how identical a lot of these shots are. And if everything is identical looking so far in the trailer, that makes me feel that the overall story of Crisis Core Reunion isn't going to change. It's just a gut feeling that I've got, because the point in doing this, I believe, and the whole reason that Crisis Core has been remade, remastered, whatever it is, the whole reason why Ever Crisis seems to be pushing Zack's chapter quite hard as well, is because they want people to know who Zack is. And this comes back to the point that I made earlier, that not a lot of the new people to the franchise that came in with Remake have played Crisis Core. Not a lot of the old people from the franchise have played Crisis Core, because a lot of people, maybe they picked it up, played it and put it down because it was so different from FF7 gameplay wise. That's also something that I've seen a lot of people say, that they tried and they just didn't enjoy it. So there's a lot of people that haven't played through Crisis Core and got Zack's story. So the Crisis Core Reunion, the Crisis Core sections of Ever Crisis, these have both been done with a view to informing people as to who Zack is, to give everyone Zack's story, because people who just played Remake, pretty clueless who this guy is who survived at the end of the game. Pretty clueless. And if that's the case, they want people to know who Zack is, why would they change Zack's story? Because then they don't know who Zack is, they know who this, we'll say, Remake universe Zack is. And that's not what I think they're doing. Plus you have to question, when did the timeline itself change in Remake? Because there's obviously been a timeline change. The question is when? Did it happen right at the start of Remake when you see that black feather just drift to the floor in the reactor? Is that the moment when Sephiroth kind of popped back? Could that be it? Could that black feather be the symbol and be the indicator of Sephiroth kind of jumping in and starting to mess with things? If that's the case, Crisis Core should be identical. There should be no change to Crisis Core, because this happens way after the events of Crisis Core. Way after the events. Now, if the change happens pre-Final Fantasy VII, anything could happen. And it does raise questions as to why they're releasing it in Ever Crisis and then re-releasing it as a standalone game. You could say that not a lot of people are. You could say that more people will pick it up if they release it on 2 platforms, and that's probably true. But I don't know, there's a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be something that they do. My gut feeling is Crisis Core pans out exactly the same up until the end. You finish the game, the credits roll, and then you get that little static flicker on the screen that you get, that they use so often in Final Fantasy VII, even back in the OG. And then you see the ending from Final Fantasy VII Remake instead. Not the whole ending, the Zack bit of the ending. And then maybe you get a little bit more. Because if they just gave us the exact same thing that we've already seen in Remake, that's pointless. There's got to be something tangible and additional if they're going to mess about like that. It could be that they're just doing an honest, straightforward Crisis Core Remake. It could be that. But I've got a feeling that they'll throw something in at the end. If not right at the very end of the game after the trailers, it'll be something that you have to go out of your way to access. There might be a few little nods, a few little things that just look a little bit different. But like I say, pretty much all the way through that Crisis Core trailer, everything looks exactly the same as it does in the original Crisis Core. But anyway, that's enough from me, because there's not a massive amount to look into. It's purely speculation now over whether Crisis Core is going to stay the same or not. So, what do you think? Do you think Crisis Core is going to stay the same? Do you think there's going to be a big change? Do you think there's going to be little changes? Like, where are you on the scope? What do you think is going to go down with Crisis Core Reunion? Let me know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget, like and subscribe, but more importantly than anything, have a great day.